Alright, hello and welcome to another very exciting episode of the Android Development Video Tutorial Series. I'm your host, Matthias Reich, and today we'll have a look at buttons. Now I know at the end of the last episode, episode number 2, I said that we would have a closer look at activities, but since activities are a more advanced topic that involve a lot of concepts like user permissions, intents, etc., I decided to procrastinate that topic to a later episode. So today we'll start out relatively simple with a button. So what we want to do is we want to create a button and then actually listen to button clicks by implementing an on-click handler for that button. Alright, so let's get started. We'll start out new, so we'll choose File, New, Project, and of course we're creating an Android project. Click Next. And I'll name that project Button. And for the build target, I choose Android 1.5. The application name is also Button. Package name, com extensive arts .button, and again, of course, that package name would be different for you, like com.yourdomain.button, for example. And I want to create an activity called, let's call it Simple Button, and that's alright, so I'll just click Finish, and that'll create our project. Alright, so here we have it. Twirl that down, go to the source folder, double click, and here we have it. So it's nothing new, it's pretty much where we left off last time. But today I want to introduce some new aspects of Android programming. So last time I introduced that resource folder, and we saw that there are like strings and our layouts. And what I want to do today is I want to actually customize the layout and customize the strings. So the first thing I want to do is customize the default layout. So I'll double click main XML, and that'll take us to that graphical user interface or interface designer. And here we have our text, hello world, simple button. And what I want to do is I want to select that text and just delete it by right clicking and choose remove. And it asks me if I really want to remove, and I say yes. Alright, so we have a blank screen, and when we check the main XML file, you can actually see that it's not entirely blank, but that there's a linear layout. And a linear layout is just one of the possible layout concepts in Android. And in this case, we have a vertical linear layout, which means that the elements are stacked on top of each other. Or better, new elements are created underneath all existing elements in that layout. Alright, so what I want to do, I want to go back to the layout, and I want to create two more elements. They're called views. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create an edit text view by just simply dragging it to the screen. And underneath that edit text view, I want to create a button. So I'll choose a button and also drag it to the screen and let go, and there we have a button. So next thing, I want to customize those views a bit. So I like to switch to the main XML, and here you can see it automatically created those two elements here, and I want to arrange them a bit more efficiently. So I'll just do it like this. And then we have that. And the same with the button. Alright, now we can see them a little bit better. Alright, so what we have here is our views, and we can customize those views with certain properties. For example, the edit text view has a predefined text which is displayed in that view. It is edit text 01, which you can see here. And it also has an ID, and it has some layout properties which defines how the view is drawn on the screen. Now when you choose wrap content, then the view will be just big enough to cover the content of that view. In this case, the edit text. Now you can see that when you switch back to the layout, it's now that big, and when you actually edit that text by, adding some characters here, switch back, you can see it actually grew bigger, and eventually it wrapped. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to delete that text. We don't need that. In fact, we could remove the whole property. So, and then we want to give our edit text a nice little ID. So I would like to call it my text. Now you might wonder what those characters here up front mean. Well, the @ symbol is just a way to tell that the following text is in fact a resource ID, and the plus sign indicates that it is a new resource and should be added to the resource list. And we're having an ID, and the name of that ID is simply my text. Alright, then I'd like to change the layout property for the layout width. I'd like to change it to fill parent, and that way it will span across the entire screen, or the entire screen width, and I think that looks much nicer. Alright, now the same with our button, and for the text we'll do something different here. Now we could just write some text here. We could write, click me, and it would be perfectly fine and it would work. But there's a much better way to do that. So we simply use our resources again. We'll type @string/ and then button text. And what that means is that it will look for the button text in our resource list, and it's looking for a string, and the string has the ID or the name of button text. So obviously we need to create that string yet because it doesn't exist, but we'll do that later on. So for the ID, I'd like to change it to my button. And again, for the width property, I'd like to choose fill parent. Alright, now I'm going to save that, and now we're getting an error actually, which is perfectly normal because it says there is no resource matching the name button text. And so we have to create that resource now, and we create it in the strings XML, and I just switch that graphical user interface and go straight to the strings XML file. And here you can see the strings that were already predefined by the application when it was created. Now the first string here with the name of hello, we can delete that since it was used to output the text on our text view. That standard hello world, hello Android, in our case with hello world simple button. So we don't need that anymore. So we can delete that. And here's our app name, which is the name of our application that is displayed in the top bar on screen. And now we need to create another string for our button text. So I just create a new element, string, with the name of button text, and I don't know, I'll just call it click me. And then I'll save that. And as you can see here, now the error has disappeared. Alright, so now here we have our layout. You can see here's our edit text and here's our button. And what I want to do now is I want to give those elements a little bit of padding so that they aren't that close to the border. So in